I just find that he has a lot of emotionality in his vocal. I mean, he does through the record, but like in that particular song, that's what makes that song special, I feel like. I am in suspense. Do you know why?
No, because it looks like you're in a basement, but go on. That was for you, Ma.
With a really, really bad joke, yeah, Holly.
Even she would groan at that one.
Great work.
I'll get a couple groaners.
I'm in suspense.
Okay, talk to me.
I am dying to hear what you think of Accept Balls to the Wall record.
Balls to the Wall by Accept?
Yes. Are you going to draw this out?
Why did you gave me this album because I wasn't a fan of the Scorpions, right? And I know people are still probably throwing rocks at me for that, but.
Yes. So let's for some reason, this is really strange. I don't really remember doing the Lovedrive episode.
It's because I just brought nothing to the table. Because I just...
No. So when did we do it on a Thursday, or we do it... I don't really...
Yeah.
I think that we did it, and then I left on vacation.
Yes.
And I came back, and remember I texted you and said, what album are we doing? Like, where are we? And you're like, dude, we already did Lovedrive.
We're doing Triumph. Yeah, we were doing Triumph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure that we had done Lovedrive yet.
Yeah.
So I really have no recollection of what you thought of that record.
Oh. Yeah, was not a fan. Was not a fan of Lovedrive. I think I gave it a 3, So, yeah.
You did?
Yeah. It was not a good score. Because it wasn't an album that stood out to me as like exciting or thrilling or wanting to revisit and listen to at all.
So here's okay. So that
and the vocals played a big part of that, I think, as well. I was not a big fan of what Schenker, Michael, not Michael. Who is the singer?
The vocalist?
Who's the singer of Scorpions?
Klaus Meine.
Not Shankers were guitars. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay, so that does not bode well for this week's selection. However, the reason why I brought this to you is because it's got the efficiency and the power of a German metal band. It is the best German metal band of all, in my opinion. But also, it's kind of the feel of like a Judas Priest, right? But a little bit better. This is one of my, outside the genre, like this is one of my favorite metal records of all time.
Wow.
It's just one of my favorite records of all time.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. I think it's
Balls to the Wall.
People call like an essential metal album.
I believe that it is. I firmly believe that it is. And I just kind of fell upon it when I think I was 14. It came to me at the perfect time, and I consumed it, and I just like devoured it. And I still listen to it regularly today. I love this record.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Cool.
I want to hear how you feel about it.
Well, I mentioned yeah.
I kind of feel like you're going to like it.
This is Judas Priest meets AC/DC is what I felt Balls to the Wall or Accept was when I heard this album.
I like that.
Yeah. And so Balls to the Wall, I had mentioned on the previous episode that like I was introduced to this song through Guitar Hero, and I wasn't a big fan of it on Guitar Hero. It's neither here nor there. So I knew Balls to the Wall coming into this. So it's kind of an song for me, Balls to the Wall.
I can see that.
The rest of this album is a thrill ride, man. I love this album. Yeah. Oh yeah. Big fan of Balls to the Wall by Accept. This whole album. Yeah, you got it this time, man. This was
so great.
So cool. Vocals.
Awesome.
You'll probably be like, yeah, but you didn't even like Joe Elliott's vocals, but you thought the Axl was gritty. You're like, what? But even at times, like, what's your deal with vocals? Admittedly, what is this guy? Udo
Dirk Schneider.
There were times where the vocals were a little bit, but it fits perfectly with the music. It
so does.
So good. So good, this album.
You're so right about that. You know, I'm picky about singers, like super picky. If I don't like the singer, I don't like the band.
Right.
But I don't necessarily love his vocals because they're gritty and they're kind of like unorthodox. But I'm willing to overlook that in favor of these riffs, because these riffs are the best in the business. Like, this is like...
But you know what, man? Even melodies, even these choruses, like the choruses in these songs are
melodic.
Like fantastic. Yeah, absolutely they are. Losing More Than You Ever Heard, Love Child, like great choruses on these songs.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it, man. I'm so
great.
glad.
Good episode.
See, you know what? Like, that could have went either way, right? So this is really cool to think about now, because I was coming into this thinking, like, I kind of feel like, based on his track record, the vocals are very important, and he's very picky with the vocals. So that's strike one. Strike two was the Scorpions thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, this might not work.
They're German. Yeah. Yeah.
But it did work out. And I'm glad, because I thought that you might pick up on the fact that this, like, the songwriting is great and the riffs are amazing. And you liked, some of the Judas Priest stuff. So I thought you would be able to see kind of the translation there. So excellent. So glad.
Yeah, totally.
I knew it. I'm so glad that I exposed you to this, because I wasn't going to bring it on the show.
Oh, really? Eh?
It's not a conventional record. I mean, people know Balls to the Wall, but they don't know this record unless you're a metal person.
Interesting.
So,
yeah. Except, not a band that came up too often in high school.
Yep.
Like I mentioned, kids would wear the Sabbaths and the Guns N' Roses and the Maidens, but Accept was never, or Megadeth. People were Megadeth a lot, but
yep. They were never really, Balls to the Wall was the closest they got to the mainstream, I feel like. But there was an album just before this called Restless and Wild. And if you like this record, Balls to the Wall, go back and listen to that one.
I haven't had a chance to go back, but that's definitely there. I definitely want to go and like listen to all of Accept. So
Restless and Wild is almost as good as this record.
Cool.
Restless and Wild, I called that in No Sleep Till Sunday, I called it Accept's Rubber Soul record, because it's like right on the cusp. Like,
okay.
Right. It's just like almost there. And then Balls to the Wall came out, and it was like, bang. It was just like, I get excited when I talk about this stuff, man.
Cool. It's great. It's great. Totally. Well, I love the Gregorian chanting in Balls to the Wall. I feel like that's a ton of fun.
That is cool. And just the song in particular, the arrangement is so good, right? The way that it's staged to highlight the guitar solo from the guitar player Wolf Hoffman is just so brilliant as well. He's such a great player and just plays with so much feel. And the run up to that, you hear in the breakdown of the song, Udo talks, he gives this little soliloquy about, human rights or whatever. And you hear those monks, and then something's happening, and it's building and building and building. And it just like, it literally, it feels like you're gonna have a heart attack. Like, it's like,
yeah.
And then the solo comes, and the solo is perfect.
Yeah.
Because he starts out with like I think it's a G, and then he goes all the way up the scale, and he plays this super high note, and then he squawks it, and it's like, oh my God. I've listened to that part more than 400 times in my life. I've been listening to this steady since 1984.
Wow.
Yeah. I never let go of it.
Yeah. Guitar tones in this are really cool. And you know what, man? Like, they have their sound. Like,
truly, they do.
Like, that was like what I was listening in here too as well. I was like, man, this is cool. Like, this, sure, some of the riffs and sound a bit Judas Priesty, but like Wolf Hoffman has his guitar sound, and it's sweet. It's crunchy, and it is like it. Like you just mentioned the squawk with the solo, but like he's even got that in more of a kind of effects he's using. It's cool.
The crunch of the guitars in this production. It can't get any better. Like, you couldn't ask for any more. And I've often said of this record, this is the most perfectly produced metal record of all time. I feel like it is.
Wow.
Listen to this album. This is an album, I've said this before, this is an album that when you turn it up, it actually sounds better. Oftentimes when you turn albums up, they get distorted and they're hard to listen to. But as you turn this one up and you've got a good kind of surround sound system, sit right in the middle of the room and turn it up, and you'll be inside it. And it's like being inside a tornado, but like a really great sounding tornado.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like you want it to continue, and it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll get to London Leather Boys, but just in you saying that, like, Fight It Back has this part where he screams, and listening to it on the headphones, and I'm sure if you had a system, it's wah, 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 wah. This is wild.
But
so
that
cool.
scream right before the lead break, that goes on for probably about 20 seconds. Do you know that one?
I can't pick it out. No, I remember that back and forth.
It's like, I know what you're talking about, but that happens early. It happens before this scream, but this scream is like legendary. Think of the scream in Number of the Beast by Bruce Dickinson. And then, you compared that, I think, in our show to Roger Daltrey's scream.
Right.
But this one is higher key, like it's pitched higher, but he continues that scream, and it sounds
like someone's being murdered.
It's like,
Doesn't it?
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just kind of unfolds really nicely into the solo, and then the solo takes off. So It's literally again,
okay.
They do such a great job of kind of moving you around with this record. They lift you up and they bring you down and they lift you up again. And it feels like you're on a roller coaster almost listening to this. It truly does. And what an amazing quality that is.
This is for a band that's not that's not really, I guess, popular. Again, popular to me, popular, and it's like a metal name, that's never popped up to me before. So, and cool. London Leather Boys. I want to go back and touch on that because it's also a freaking just great song.
It really is. All these songs are so good in their own way, but I know I'm just going to be...
That's it. It's good.
London Leather Boys got them into a bit of hot water. I don't know if you know about this, but London Leather Boys and
I got a contract
Child.
on you. Sorry, go ahead.
Did you turn that into like a soundbite yet?
Well, no, I haven't, but I will say that the guitar on it, the dun 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 dun, it sounds a little like Killing Machine, or at least just the melody of Killing Machine. I got a contract on you. Dun, 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 dun. Anyways.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that. Good for you. Yeah, you're right. Maybe they lifted it.
Yeah,
it's possible, right? Time wise.
It is.
This came out in 1983 in Europe, but it was released in January 1984 in North America.
States.
So it didn't step on Restless and Wild, because Restless and Wild came out I think 8 months previous.
And Killing Machine 79, so 78, 79.
Entirely possible.
It's entirely possible, but anyways.
Yeah, they get into a bit of trouble with this because not trouble, but controversy, because it was homoerotic. Apparently, it was about gay people, but it was about guys who wore leather and suggestive, but it was really about bikers. But then the guys in the band said, well, it's about suppression. It's about people who are being suppressed, and they're just like us, and it's human rights again. And they were big on human rights.
It could be about gay people. It could be about the that's what I think as well what they said it could be, but it's just about being suppression, and that they fall into that. So,
but also when you look at the album cover, the artwork on the album cover, it is well, you can see it down on the bottom here, but it's got a homoerotic feel, and that's not by accident, right? So they kind of wanted to. They knew as Germans, and Germans, as is most of Europe, very liberal people, right? There's a lot of liberation going on there sexually and otherwise. And so North America can be, almost prudish in that way, that when you put an album out in Europe, something like this would just be like, people would go, okay. But then when it comes out in North America, it's like, put a warning label on that. And that's what happened with this record. And they did it on purpose to draw attention.
The Scorpions Lovedrive album cover as well. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
And again, I told that story. Now I remember, actually, as we're talking about Lovedrive, I remember telling that story about Klaus Main and the artwork. But,
yeah.
They didn't understand why that shocked people so drastically here. But it did. It's a different culture.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and writer was Wolf Hoffman's wife and manager at the
Gabby
time.
Hawk.
Yeah, she wrote all of these songs, most of them.
Yeah, she wrote all the lyrics, which is really weird. I didn't know this until later, but some of the lyrics, and I talked about the kind of unorthodox way that Udo sings. I didn't understand a lot of the lyrics, and I bought the cassettes, and the cassettes didn't contain the liner notes. The record did, the vinyl did, but the cassette, just kind of showed you that. It's just like it's blank. There's nothing in it. Right.
Where's the 5-point font with all the lyrics?
There is that.
Oh, okay. Credits.
But no lyrics. And so look at how worn that tape is. You can't even tell what tape that is.
That's hilarious.
Both sides. See that?
Holy smokes.
I literally wore the writing off the tape because I played it so much. Oh. Sorry, my point was that I didn't know what the lyrics were, and I didn't really, in most instances, kind of take the time to understand. But they were written by a woman, and a lot of the lyrical kind of topics were pretty spicy. They talked about like sex and bondage and homosexuality and that sort of thing. But all of those things, Alex, as a 14-year-old from a small town in Northern Ontario, I was completely I was oblivious to it.
I was going to say, I probably didn't pick up on it, just weren't paying attention to that. This is just great metal.
I really didn't. I was focused on the riffs.
Yeah.
The riffs that was the big thing. Yeah.
Killer.
Yeah.
We chatted about Fight It Back, Head Over Heels.
What do you say? I mean,
it's just more great music, man. Like it's really cool. Again, the starting, the cool little bass line, the cool little guitar intro, and it just takes you into it, man. It's a trip.
And you know what? That's true. All the instrumentations, they start songs with bass, right? Do 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 do. And then the crunchy guitars come in, And again, that production. I'm going to tell you a funny story about the guy who mixed this record. His name is Michael Wagner. He was a German guy. And a lot of people credit him because he mixed this record with the reason why it sounds so perfect. And then they would bring him into other sessions to try to capture that sound. It never really quite did because it was Wolf Hoffman's kind of rig and this kind of German thing that it was like lightning in a bottle. But he was in LA and he was pulled in to mix a record by a brand new band with a producer named Rick Browd. And so Rick Browd was also pulled into this project, and he didn't really care for the band. He saw the band the night before at the Troubadour, I believe. And so Rick and Michael are in the studio with this band. Neither of them liked the band very much. The band played all their tunes. They were terrible musicians. The singer couldn't really sing. And this is them telling the story. This is Rick Browd telling the story. And so they finally cut the record, and Rick Browd goes home and he tells his wife, I was producing this band today and they sucked. And I want to be done with this because it's kind of an embarrassment to my, portfolio, right? So Michael Wagner calls him on the phone and says, Enigma, the label, offered me two options. On this record, I could get 1% of overall sales, or they'll pay me $1,000. What do you think I should do, Rick? And Rick goes, dude, take the $1,000 because this band is not going to be around for more than a month. They suck and they're terrible, and forget it, right? The band was Poison. The album was Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Whoa.
Talk Dirty to Me. Multi-platinum record. Michael Wagner collected $1,000 for his mixing work on the record. Could have collected 1% of overall sales. But they were so convinced because the band had no talent whatsoever. Like Brent Michaels couldn't sing; he was always like out of pitch, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is so bad. This album's going to do nothing. Like it's
take the grand." Die. Yeah,
take the grand, man, and be lucky that you got it.
That's tough. That's a tough gamble.
So yeah.
Well, it sounds like he went on to do some bigger and better things.
He did. He certainly did. Yeah, he was fine.
Good.
He did not go hungry. He was fine.
He just.
But that's a funny story.
He just might be a little less hungry if he took that 1%. Jeez, that's tough.
Yeah. Losing More Than You've Ever Had has this really cool thing in it. I don't know if you picked up on this. I don't know how many times you've heard this record. But it's got that cool riff. Like the riffs are very kind of acrobatic too, right? They're just so effortless and they just kind of like soar. And they do in this song this thing that every time you hear this, you think like if a band is willing to do that, it kind of demonstrates a cockiness and a confidence that tells you a lot about what they think they can do. And it puts you in a different place with that band. And the thing I'm talking about is there's a lyric that goes, feel the steel of the sword, and you hear the sound effect go.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I caught this, no.
So go back and listen to it. I remember hearing that when I was a kid, and I'm like, what is that, like a sword?
Yeah. And
then I thought, like, fuck, it takes a lot of nerve to do that.
Right.
Without having it sound really cheesy.
Yeah.
Right? But they pull it off. It's almost like a little wink, right? And I thought, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always do that with my mouth. Whenever you hear this, I always go whenever it comes on.
Hey, you don't have to be old to be wise. Sick. That's cool. Yeah, I gotta go back and listen to this. It's the chorus.
These are the joys of listening to music, aren't they?
Oh yeah, totally, man.
And I guess more specifically listening to heavy metal.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would still say like what's his name? Dirk Schneider?
Dirk Schneider, yeah.
Dirk Schneider, yeah. He's got a whole bunch of those sort of Halford-isms, I guess, across this album. They're great.
He does.
Just kind of throws these little things in here and there. And man, again, like also very Bon Scottish, just like very much sounds just like him at times.
So glad you picked up on that, because that's the first comparison I would make. Is that grit of Bon Scott's throat, like that throaty approach. And it's not like he doesn't sing tone, semitone like Halford does and like Dickinson does, like the operatic style singing, right? It's
just from the back of the throat.
Yeah. And it's just like, right?
Yeah. Well, you talked about that little monologue in Balls to the Wall. That's where like I was like, oh man, this is super Bon Scott. And then, just especially in the talking parts, but
totally.
Yeah. This song, Losing More Than You've Ever Had, it's just, again, melodies like the gang vocals that they put on throughout this album is just, it's so good.
Yeah, I know.
Great. Like this is why, like I was just saying, like metal, this is like, I feel like this was just like, this is what I'm into, you know?
Yeah. So see, in a way, this is redemptive for you, because in previous episodes, you were worried about people throwing rocks at you for not being a true metal fan.
Okay.
You just proved that you were by loving this record, because this is a true metal record.
Nice.
And you love it as much as you do, thus you're a true metal fan.
Love it. Perfect. I'll take it.
There you go.
Yeah. Great tune. Love Child.
Yeah. Kickoff for side 2 again.
This is side 2 kickoff. Yeah.
This, thinking about the tune stack here, this is perfect sequencing for me. I don't think I would change anything about this. London Leather Boys is perfect in second slot. Balls to the Wall is a great way to start the record. Love Child is perfect to kick off side 2. And Winter Dreams is perfect to end the record. So yeah, it's the perfect sequencing.
I think you're right. I think it is 100% correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So great.
I'm not going to try and sing like Dirk Schneider.
Actually, I kind of, I was like, do I want to hear that? I actually do want to hear it now. Let's give it a go.
Okay, what is it? Love child. No? Yeah, it's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
How does the chorus?
Love child.
Love child.
Oh. I should have turned down my volume before you.
I'll just stand back. Love child. No, sometimes it's fun though. Sometimes it is fun to try and sing along, just like him. But
do you do that in the car?
I was doing that in the car. Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah. The problem is that our car has no air conditioning, so my windows are down, so everybody gets to hear it. Yeah.
Oh,
it's great. But it's funny you mentioned this song, like, album being if you turn it up loud.
Yes.
Like, that's all I did because I was driving on the highways, so I had to turn it up loud.
It's
to
so
hear it because the windows are down
produced.
because there's no air conditioning. So the windows are down, the music's cranked, and it sounds fantastic. So I embrace this album. It's great.
It does.
Yeah.
This is a joy for me to listen to, and it has been for like more than 30 years. Isn't that incredible?
Well, I love that, man. That is incredible.
Yeah. I truly treasure this record. What's next? Turn Me On.
Turn Me On.
Yeah. So good. And again, see, I was talking about this before I introduced Accept to the show about that twin guitar attack. Remember we were talking about Judas Priest? And I said, there's a band called Accept that does this. It's like a jet taking off, right? And they start, one of them, Hoffman starts in one, and I think Herman Frank was the other guitar player only on this record. Yeah. Starts on the other side. And I do this just over there. I listen to all my music just over in that part of the room. And there's a surround sound, like in-wall speaker system. And I position the chair so that I'm right in the middle. And I listen to this record really loud, and you can hear the guitar come in here. And then you hear the other guitar come in here. And then the drums and the bass come in, and it's like...
That's so cool.
It's all that. I'm like 3 right now. You know what I mean? I'm 3 years old. Like, so excited about this.
Do you listen to it when people are home? Do you just blast it while people are okay?
No. Well, sometimes Amy's like, I'm in the basement right now, so she would be 4 levels up, so she wouldn't hear it.
I need to get a music room set up like properly and like a place to sit that's going to hit me and
so rewarding.
Yeah.
So rewarding. Glass of bourbon and balls to the wall. And you don't need much else.
Just yeah.
See, there you go. There you can sing along too.
Losers and winners. Yeah. Yeah.
Losers and winners, also good.
Can't really say much, man. Like you just like we could just keep like same response to all these. Like, this is great metal, man. These are great songs.
It is that and Guardians of the Night.
It's cool what they can do with Guardians of the Night. Like this one, and then obviously like Winter Dreams is like, it's funny because it's only 2 songs, but I feel like it actually shows their like what they can do like in those 2 songs. Like you listen to the rest of the album, it's heavy metal, and then you get to these sort of last 2 songs, and you're like, wow, you guys can actually just do a little bit more than just metal. And I don't know, that's what I got from that.
That's cool that you picked up on that, because Guardian, it starts with an acoustic intro, and then it's got his vocal. Udo's vocal is very emotive, I find, in that it's almost like he's pleading to somebody, right? I think what is he say? Sister, can you? But I just find that he has a lot of emotionality in his vocal. I mean, he does through the record, but like in that particular song, that's what makes that song special. I feel like, he really kind of goes like above and beyond as a vocalist in this song.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I picked up from it, and that's what I enjoy the most about it.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Yeah, it's not just let me pound you with this like really great, heavy metal voice. But it's, there is. There's like, there's.
Do you get that?
100%. Especially in the melody too with it. Yes. It's very, almost sentimental too, right? Like even with Winter.
Sentimental, but there's a bit of desperation about it.
Yeah.
Like there's an urgency in the vocal.
There is desperation. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always thought that was special about this song.
Cool. Yeah. I love it. And again, the way the people come in and sing, the rest of the guys come in and sing with them, it's great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I always love that. Like German bands are so good at that, especially Accept, like so great with gang vocals. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So, we talk about track 9s, right?
Yeah.
Obviously this is like track 8A.
Yeah.
Goes to 10. Like this is like the 13th floor.
Right.
There is no track 9 on this record. Guardian is actually one of the better songs on this record, I think. Guardian of the Night. I would say. It shows their ability to like compose like various, like again, they do that in some other songs, but I feel like this one is just a bit different in terms of complexity and sophistication is another word I try and throw around a little bit, because like that's what it is. It just feels a little bit more, I don't know, theoretical, a little more thought out, a little bit more put together. Completely agree. It's extremely sophisticated metal.
Yeah.
And
then Winter Dreams, same thing, man.
This takes me back particularly because when I heard it for the first time as a 14-year-old, I was a little bit perplexed to hear an acoustic ballad, right? You can hear the acoustic guitars. And I thought, why is this on here? But then I thought, it works on here. Like, it's great. And it's a nice finish to a record. And it's so unorthodox because if you put this in front of 9 out of 10 people, they would say, no, that's not going to work. Like, you need to finish a record like this off. You need a blaster, but you don't. You need this. It's perfect.
It's so cool. And
it's a great finish.
A lot of the bands, and one of the bands I'd sent you prior, like we never talked about on the show, but it was Hammerfall. And Hammerfall is also, I think they're a German band as well. But look at Accept as a influence in their music, covered one of their songs as well. And like that band is a band called Freedom Call, and I could hear Accept in Freedom Call as well, and Hammerfall. Right. So it's Hammerfall, Freedom Call, but these are the songs that you can kind of get some of that inspiration from.
Totally.
You can tell. So anyways, it's fantastic. Great album, man. Great album.
Your life is better for hearing this record.
It sure is. Yeah, totally. Totally.
Yes.
So it's weird because I just gave Triumph, which is like a really good album, 4.5 out of 5, and I was like, man, like what other albums did I give 5 out of 5s on? And like, they got to really hit me to be a good like 5 out of 5 album, but I'm really struggling like not to give this a 5 out of 5 because of how just incredible. Honestly, even just those last 2 songs in amongst this album almost make this album the 5 out of 5 that I think it is. It's a 5 out of 5. I think it's a 5 out of 5. It's 5.
It's a 5.
It's a 5.
It's easily a 5.
Yeah.
I would give this a 10 out of 5.
Yeah.
Over the moon for this record.
It's good. It is great. This is a great album.
I'm thrilled that you like this, because like I said, this is a very special record for me, and I'm so glad that you like it.
I just feel
and appreciate it.
Even confusing myself though, like what do I like?
You're like Rob Halford.
Yeah. Like Halford.
Don't know what I like.
There you go. See, but I'm like,
Band of Pleasure.
I don't know, like Scorpions, and I don't know. There's Kids, whatever. It's just weird.
No, that's what you have to do. You have to say whatever. It doesn't matter.
No,
you can't.
I guess
don't go down that path where if I like this, then I have to like that.
No.
And I play that game with myself, with you. Like, well, if you like Judas Priest, then it's like, so maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did hope that you were going to like this, though, just because I'm so biased again, like towards it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm really glad.
I broke a lot of hearts, I think, with Lovedrive, so maybe there's a little bit of redemption in some way. How you going to top this one, Brent?
Well, it's not, I learned a long time ago that you can't do that.
Correct.
Right? It's not a topper game.
Yeah.
It's not, because, like, you can't top Queen Sheer Heart Attack. You can't top Who's Next with
anything.
Except as much as I love it. Oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot to do this earlier.
What do you got?
We were so engrossed in what we're talking about. This is like my Accept collection from high school.
Whoa.
Can you see those?
Accept. They all look like the Judas Priest.
Balls to the wall at the top. Yeah, they do.
Spines.
I think there's only a couple of cassettes short of my Judas Priest collection, maybe. But see, Restless and Wild is on there, which is amazing. Russian Roulette came later. Metal Heart came later. This album is, well, these two are kind of obscure. This is really strange. So for Mike Ladano and Deke and some of the other guys, look at the logo at the top. That's Accept's logo, but I think this is like one of their first records. It's got a breaker on it, son of a bitch. It's very bizarre. I don't even know. This is distributed by A&M in Canada, but like, I don't know when it came out. I bought this after the fact, 83. That can't be right. Anyway, very odd. And this, a live record, Kaizoku Ban. So this came out after Balls to the Wall.
Okay. Good live album.
Yeah. And it's very cool. Yeah. It came out after Metal Heart, actually. Yeah. So obviously huge Accept fan.
Huge.
Love that band.
Huge Accept fan. Yeah. Have you listened to any of their new stuff?
Yeah, and it's good. I mean, the riffs are good, and it's all Hoffman, right? I think they have a guy who's the producer, Sneap. His name is Gary Sneap or Mike Sneap or something like that. Andy Sneap.
Okay.
Who's a producer he's actually a pretty good player. He played in Judas Priest for a little while. They filled in for Glenn Tipton. He produces their records for them, and he's got that good crunch too, but it's not, for me, exactly the same as Balls to the Wall.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I think it's sick. They've been around for a long time. They've been doing it. They continue to do it. And I'll go check something, like, again, just like Maiden, I guess just like Priest as well. These guys have been around a long time doing it. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Udo left the band after an album called Eat the Heat that they did that I didn't buy because they were kind of, it was a weird, the 80s were a weird time for Accept, and they formed in the 70s, and the late 80s were weird, and they kind of lost their way a little bit. He left the band and formed his own band, and then called UDO. And a guy named, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was in a band called TT Quick from New Jersey. And he kind of sounded like Udo. He had the same vocal styling. And he's still in the band now. I don't remember his name, unfortunately. But yeah, great singer. And they do Balls to the Wall. I saw them live probably about 6 or 7 years ago in a club, and they were brilliant.
Sweet. Yeah, since the song came out, they've never not played it. It's just always been on their, it's always been on their set list.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. It's their calling card.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, what's next? What do you got? What's after this guy? Not topping, but.
We're totally changing direction. I'm going to explain this.
Okay.
Because I just was thinking about this like today.
All right.
So on the No Sleep Till Sudbury podcast, I did, now the date today is the 15th of August. In April, something very peculiar happened in the world of kind of people who love 80s hard rock and metal. Bon Jovi went on tour and performed very subpar, and a lot of people were very curious about why his singing was so poor. He didn't just miss a couple of notes. He missed like all of them. I don't know if you know about this.
I think I've seen some video of this, but yeah.
See, the thing is, I did a podcast episode on it because it was so unusual. Because I like Bon Jovi, I respect him, right? But it was so bizarre. I saw people talking about it, and I thought, like, maybe it's just clickbait. People do shit like that all the time, and it's dumb. I'm not going to click on it. But then I started seeing, Blabbermouth and Classic Rock were talking about it, and I thought, let's have a look. And I watched the clips, and it's like, holy crap! Like, Bon Jovi has never sung before. Like, this is really strange. And somebody actually said it was funny. One of the comments was, for all of you who always wanted to sing like Bon Jovi, now you can. I laughed too. You shouldn't laugh, but I did. So anyway, I did a show on the No Sleep Till Sudbury podcast on this peculiar occurrence, and it's been gaining some traction. So I'm going to introduce Bon Jovi's New Jersey to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The album came out in 1988. It's actually a pretty good record.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll see what you think of that one.
It's interesting that you do say that. You talk about Bon Jovi because Winter Dreams almost reminded me of what's it? Wanted, Dead or Alive.
Oh.
Or I guess the other way around.
Acoustic strumming, right? Poof. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was actually, that was what came to mind when I was listening to that song a little bit. So I actually find it's kind of cool. Obviously this isn't the album that it's on, but interesting that you bring up Bon Jovi now. So
that's so bizarre. The kick drum pattern is the same.
And it is an acoustic intro. Not that it's the same as Wanted, Dead or Alive, but
no, it doesn't have that kind of like Western flavor that Wanted does. But wow. Yeah. That's so funny.
So great. Cool. Okay, sorry. What was it called?
See, we're we're on the same wavelength.
New Jersey.
It's called New Jersey. Bon Jovi, New Jersey came out in '88. I would say it's their best record.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. My mother's a Bon Jovi fan,
like
Brent. So, I mean, that's
Holly.
That's right. Yeah, Holly's a big Bon Jovi fan. So. It's not that I get anything against my mother's music, but I correlate Bon Jovi to my mother's music. So,
well, that's all going to change when you hear this record, my friend.
Okay, let's see what happens. All right, cheers, man. Look at that.
Cheers. Here's to Holly and Bon Jovi. And
I was going to say, you know what? I was going to say here's to Balls to the Wall, but then you said here's to Holly, who is my mother, so I didn't want to say here's to Holly and Balls to the Wall. So I just did, but it doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Good night. Bye.